Hi, everyone. Sorry to interrupt, but this is the cheesy podcast bit that gets on everyone's nerves, but it's really important to me. Please, if you can like the channel and also subscribe, it helps me a lot to get the best guests in the world for you guys.
Product tools, customer support, risk management, risk monitoring, and also AI itself can use blockchain, right? So I think, as I said, tweeted before, the currency for AI is crypto. AI is not going to swipe a card, enter SMS code. That doesn't work for AI. It's going to be crypto. So, and then AI needs a lot of data to train. Today, they exhausted the public data, but there's a lot of data we don't capture today. Those data can be captured in a privacy-preserving way using blockchain. But if you give those data to a third-party company, then you can't ensure your own data sovereignty. So capturing of data, it logically should be done on the blockchain. But today, it's easier technology-wise to do it on a centralized platform. Today, those AI have to go through a website. Hopefully, in the future, that it should be AI talking to AI to book that, right? So I think in the future, we will see a very heavily automated world. I think I was talking to a fund manager yesterday. They say of 8 billion people in the world, of the data that we generate every day, it's about 300 trillion tokens. Like token meaning not the crypto token, meaning the words for AI tokens. Today, AI is generating about 10% of that today.
Wow.
In the future, though, AI will generate 10 times more than we do. So when we have AI will interacting with each other. There'll be so many exchanges. But with AI plus robotics, or plus robots, that's going to change. So whichever country has the best economy or manufacturing and AI technologies, AI plus robots plus blockchain, they don't need that many people. So the productivity equation is going to change. So it's innovation that matters. In the future world, I think we can live a much more comfortable life with much less work, how we should be.
Yeah, I think there's this whole nexus of AI and crypto is very interesting. The other part of AI that people don't understand yet is if we're not careful, we're going to have 2 or 3 giants.
It and then be able to monetize it. So in the future, I think and also we're seeing I think we'll give credit to the first few centralized platforms that have the scale to innovate. But once the industry is proven, then the decentralization will happen. We've seen that with DeepSeek. They open source their model, and now everyone can use that at a fraction of the cost. So I think we're going to see more and more of that coming. So I think the future is going to be quite decentralized.
Yeah, it's also interesting because crypto's the fastest moving industry most of us had ever seen until AI came along, and now it's multiplied the whole thing.
Hi, Raoul here. Listen, I think we've got until 2030.
By arts, if ETH is forever cooked. There is a possibility that ETH is forever cooked.
There is a probability, and we'll talk about ETH in a sec. If it is not cooked forever, and let's say it finishes this cycle up 5x or whatever from here, or 3x or whatever, 2x, doesn't matter. And you've managed to buy art in a low ETH price, you will make a multiple on that. And if people make money, they'll buy art, so the art starts outperforming ETH. So you've got this double kicker that's available, which is why there's been a lot of sales recently, because in dollar terms, it got cheap recently, as ETH fell in this correction that we've just had. So there's been a lot of dollar and had to do it. And nobody wants to take the risk of saying, oh, the whole company, we're going to turn to X now. So if you think of Ethereum as gone through its Lindy effects, it clearly works very well for what the financial markets need. They can build layer 2s, as Coinbase has shown, that can work perfectly for what their needs. If they need high security, they can use the layer 1 chain. They've got all the ZK stuff and all the other stuff that's being built. So everything is there. They've just got too much capacity. But if the finance system comes, they'll go there. Yeah, sure. There'll be stable coins and Sol and Sui and all of this stuff. But, is gold...
Yeah. Well, my prediction, this might be a little bit of a hot take because it's aggressive, but I think that technically what you're saying could happen. But I don't think it's going to be native crypto assets like we have them today. I think at some point we're going to flip a switch, and the securities markets will all be powered by crypto technology.
For sure.
It'll be almost like how technology as a sector has become the largest sector.
But because of the behavioral incentives of the protocol and how they use tokens, it's going to accrue to those tokens. So it's like, using AWS accrues to Amazon, but using Ethereum accrues to Ethereum token. It's still the single most important chart in macro and explains everything that is going on in our world today. And this is the fact that demographics is everything. And the demographics of the aging populations across the Western world, these are the US numbers using the labor force participation rate, explain the buildup in debt. Why that is as populations get older, economies slow down. To service the existing debt, it requires more debt. To create GDP growth, you need more debt. See, GDP growth is driven by population growth, productivity growth, and debt growth. And debt growth has been the driver both in the US, in China, in Europe, in the UK, all across from Websterville, Vermont. Guys, you make great cheese, whoever you are. Those are really good cheese. Okay.
To see me last night. And I was like, what? And she said a kid came to the foot of my bed. It was not my child, and tried to talk to me. And I'm like, wow. And we'd had weird things happening in that house. Like my neighbor would call me up from Spain when I was living in London saying, somebody's turning on your lights. I'm like, there's nobody there. We'd find things moved around the house, like a radio, and it'd be put by that kid's bed. And we were asking the person who'd look after the house, have you been there? Have you had a nap? What's going on? Nobody could ever explain it. What do you think of as ghosts? What are they? Because we've framed conversations about consciousness, quantum, all sorts of stuff in the past. So where would you put them in that? Is it explainable?
Well, again, in this last conversation, we talked about what is the fundamental nature of reality, right? Is it a dead material universe which consciousness arises from? Or is it consciousness is the ground of everything, and then all this material stuff is almost like a video game engine that we use to interface with other conscious entities and the main consciousness itself? It's leaning...
building yet more stuff. And I just can't see how that stock doesn't continue to really perform, because it's at the epicenter of everything still, and that doesn't go away, and Taiwan certainly being another.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we can gallop straight into the other really interesting thing this month. Jensen Huang was just speaking at Compudex, the massive